First of all, I want y'all to get into it. That's what I want y'all to do, is get into it. Do you hear me? What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl TJ back with another video. And as you can tell by the title, today's video is going to be an install video of how I got this bust down middle part. You know what I was saying? I did not do the plucking, the bleaching, or tinting process in this video. I do have a video up on my channel you guys can watch if you want to see how I do that as well. Today's video is just strictly on how I install my frontals and my wigs. So yeah, let's get into this video. Alright y'all, don't talk about my head. But first we're gonna start off with some hair from Beautiful Princess Hair Company. I got this 13x6 220 density wig. It's kind of looking like that because I already washed it and blow dried it. So first you're gonna try to get a wig cap that's closest to your skin tone or scalp color as possible. I usually get the one that's closest so I don't have to put makeup on it. Then we're gonna cut out our ear tabs. I see a lot of people put the cap on top of their whole face. That is so not called for. And I usually cut out my ears so that I can get the cap to be as close to the corner of my ear as possible. Like, I'm kind of point to what I mean. You don't want it to be in the gaps. You want it to be as close to your ear as possible right there. Then you also want to make sure that your edges are pushed back underneath that cap. Just so when you put your glue on, you won't be getting as much of your edges. We need our edges, baby. So you're gonna spray. It's got to be on basically the perimeter, the front of your hairline. I kind of like to go in front of it. Like I said, I just don't like to put a lot of damage on my edges, a lot of stuff on my edges. And we're gonna take a blow dryer and you want to put that on cool and let that dry. Then you're gonna take your bold hold. Yes, I couldn't get the camera focused. You're gonna take your bow hold and just kind of give your cap some more security by putting on the glue on the edge of your hairline. Do not put that glue on your edges, guys. Like, I try to go as far as I can, not all the way on my forehead, but as far as I can to not touch my edges personally. And once again, you're gonna take that blow dryer and just put it on cool to dry that glue. Next, you're gonna cut the cap, right, as close as possible to the glue line. You don't want to leave any like excess cap. It'll start peeling up and it'll show through your lace. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that, because I'm going to have to cut like all that extra. See all that extra lace that's not glued down? You want to get rid of as much cap as possible. But do not cut your hair. That's why I also glue the cap a little bit in front of my hairline, just so, you know, I can just have that room for air. I'm taking the wig and I'm going to throw that bad boy on. I want to make sure I put your color foundation underneath the cap. I already tinted the lace, but I still just like to put a little makeup on it just for security, so it can blend like really well. Don't forget to cut off that back tab. I always forget to do that. Do not have that thing in the back of your head showing, that back lace. Just feeling myself a little bit. Y'all know how to go. But not for real. So now we're going to check to see if we can see that cap. And you can see that line of demarcation. So that's what I mean by making sure you just cut as far back as you can so that you cannot see it through your lace. That's a no ma'am. A no ma'am. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to cut off a little bit more of the cap in order for it not to show. And as you can see, I'm having to peel it back a little bit just because I glued it too far in front, and that's okay. That's like a typical mistake that some people make. You want to get it right though. You don't just do it just because I messed up. You want to get it right. So peel it back if you can. If it's too hard to peel back, just take a little alcohol and just ease it up and just cut back then. And then once you're finished, you want to cover this up with makeup just so the line can blend once again with your skin. And we're going to try this again. And as you guys can see, you can no longer see the line of demarcation for the cap. So that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you cannot see that line underneath the wig. So now we're going to cut out our ear tabs, and honestly this is the hardest part for me always. I am right-handed, so this side is a little bit easier. When you're cutting your ear taps, in order to not like cut off all of your hair, you want to just part right above your ear. So part out the hair, as you can see I'm doing right now, right above your ear, just so you won't cut as much hair. Like a lot of people be cutting all their hair and don't realize they doing it trying to get these ear taps. Just part out the hair and then cut through that part. Got it. And as you can see, it fits perfectly right there by my ear. One side is always the hardest, and this is definitely my bad side. But once again, you're just gonna feel for your ear, just make a part right above your ear, and just take those scissors and chop it off. Take your time with this. It's okay if you're not comfortable with it. Just keep trying until you feel it. If it helps, pin your hair up like I have it, so you can move the hair out the way, and then cut your taps. Alright, so when you get ready to glue, you want the hairline to be right in front of that cap, right? That cap line of demarcation. So that's how you remember where to put your glue at. So you take your bowl hold again, and we're going to go right there on the line of that cap. And we're going to just put little dots of glue. And when I say little dots, I mean little dots, but not as many as I just put. You don't want to overdo it on that first layer because you'll be just rubbing glue forever, which is what you're about to see. You want to just make sure that you put the glue on the perimeter, but you don't want to make it too much to where it doesn't dry thin. You want the glue to dry as thin as possible, so no big clumps of white glue, if that makes sense. You want to take your blow dryer and put it on cool, and your goal is to get the glue to be tacky but not all the way dry. And when you know it's tacky, you can see this clear kind of consistency, like it's no longer white anymore. The glue is clear, but it's not all the way dry. You want to take another layer and just add a couple more dots. Do this 3 times. Usually when I do 3 layers, my installs last me about 2 weeks, so that's for me personally. Everybody's different though. But yeah, you just want to smooth that glue out along the cap line. You don't want thick patches of glue. You want to make sure that that glue is not chunky, just so it can dry thin. Alright, so we're going to take another layer. Well, as you can see, the glue wasn't as clear as I wanted it, so I was kind of smoothing out a little bit. But you want to take another layer of glue and glide it across there and just smooth this out once again. It's not going to dry clear every time because the more glue you're adding, you know, you're kind of making it thicker. You're kind of making the layers like thicker. You want to keep it as thin as possible. Long as it's clear enough and you don't have these big white patches of glue, you should be straight. But as you can see, I'm getting ready to put the wig on, I still have some of these little white splotches. In order to correct that, you want to take your comb and press the hair in the glue and kind of comb that glue out. That's basically just like almost clumps of glue that kind of dried too fast. So you just kind of want to smooth it out, and that should get rid of that white residue. But don't worry, do not worry. If you still see it, it could be fixed in the end. Just keep watching. As you can see, I'm just smoothing that hair into the glue. Don't use your fingers here. Just use the comb just to press the hair into the glue. You want to take a tie or whatever you have and just tie that lace down so it can once again melt into that glue. In the meantime, between time, you want to try to get this wig as flat as possible, whether you're doing a middle part, a side part, curls, or anything. I decided to do a middle part, which I never do. I don't know why, but I decided to do a middle part, and I'm going to show you guys how I get my wigs flat, really flat. So, I'm parting. I'm going to take this wax stick and your hot comb, and you want to part the hair in sections, right? So I'm going to take a section and I'm going to use the wax to lay the hair down and then use the hot comb to straighten it flat. This allows the hair to be as flat as possible in different sections. So you just won't be doing it on the top. You'll be actually doing the hair in sections, if that makes sense. Then you want to go back and do the same thing for the top of the section, the second section. Basically, for all your sections, you want to put wax on and hot comb flat, and this gets it as flat as possible. As you can see, this is the difference between a flat side and how it came. Like, that hot comb does a lot. So I'm just going to do the other side the same way. Section it off and use the wax stick and the hot comb. Now it's time to take off that netting, and as you can see, we're not done yet, right? So you want to take some scissors and you want to cut this lace off. We still have some air bubbles in it, so this means I'm just going to have to go back and put some glue in the corrected areas, but that's fine. You want to take your time cutting the lace, but I do know you want to cut as close to the hairline as possible. I remember when I first did installs, I used to be so scared to cut the lace because I didn't want to like need the lace or something later on. But no, cut as close to that hairline as possible. That's how you get the most realistic look, and then you won't be seeing, you know, extra lace and stuff like that. And sometimes you may not be able to get everything with those shear cutters, so just go back in with your scissors if you need to and cut in zigzag motions with your scissors. And as you can see, I was about to pluck out my edges, but I did not like how I had plucked that, so I had to go back in and pluck. Yeah, no. But now I'm pulling out my edges, and I'm going to go back in and correct some of the lace that is still kind of lifting, you know, because I pulled the lace in front of the glue. There's still some parts that are not all the way glued down, so this is the moment where you just go back in and kind of fix that before you tie your edges down. Once again, let that glue dry. Do not glue that down when it's white like that. So in parting out my edges, I kind of just go like in a little oval shape. I don't like them really thick. I use this design foam here, which is the best design foam. I don't know, it just works for me so well. It kind of like brings everything together and just really gives you that melt. I do this before I tie my edges down or before I cut my edges because it just helps with that melt. Y'all finna see. Once here, I'm just going back in and just plucking some of the areas that I just felt like needed more plucking. I like for my stuff to look like I just got a fresh perm. So this is the time when you go in and pluck if you need to while your hair is tied down. Period. Look at that. Look at that melt. Stop playing with me. Alright, so we're just gonna cut our baby hairs. I usually like to cut mine in a little slant or twist them sometimes. I kind of did just my own thing right here. Usually cutting them in a slant kind of gives you more realistic look. So cut downwards if you're going on this side, and just cut, you know, just at a slant. Don't cut straight across for no baby hairs, please. I usually keep them a little longer at first, just in case, you know, I want to play around a little bit with them. So next you're going to take your Got2b glue and that design foam again, and we're going to just kind of foam these baby hairs in. I don't use a stupid buku amount of foam when I'm doing my edges because it just be running all over my face. But you're going to use that foam to kind of set in how you want your baby hairs designed. And I usually do the simple swoop to doop doop. I'm not really extra with the baby hairs. It takes a moment to play with them. It can be frustrating at times, but all you have to do is kind of just keep swooping and use that index finger to hold your hair. And as you can see, I'm doing, I keep using that index finger to kind of just hold the end, like the tail of the baby hair or the swoop of the baby hair, to get it to go in the direction that I'm talking about. I'm gonna kind of slow it down so y'all can see what I'm talking about. I'm holding that in order to be kind of controlled of where I want the baby hair to go, if that makes sense, with that finger. Once you've done that, you want to take your Got2b and kind of go over everywhere that you set. And this will kind of make them kind of set in stone. This will help it be set in stone where you put your baby hair. This also kind of clean up the look a little bit. When you're done, you want to get that hair wrap and you want to tie that baby down. You want to go sit on the dryer or whatever you need to do. I usually let mine air dry, but you want this to fully dry. So when you take it off, it could be straight slayage. You want this to fully dry. In this time when I tie this down again, I kind of usually style my hair. I'm going to flat iron my hair. I'm just going to do like a bone straight look. This hair is giving body. Once you're fully dry, you want to take this off and look at this. Stop playing with me. You know how that when you start feeling yourself, you already know. Once you remove that scarf, you want to kind of comb your baby hairs out. You don't want them stiff, like we don't want no hard edges. Like I usually comb mine out a little bit just to get them a little fluffier. You want to take your foundation, powder, something of your color, and kind of just define that part. And this will kind of help your edges stand out, especially when you put it on the hairline. Once you get the foundation in there, this kind of brings everything together. As y'all can see, we done did that. We done did that. Look at me. Yeah. Stop playing. Stop playing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like what you see. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.